Today's story comes from the Neighbors From Hell subreddit and was posted by deleted user and was titled, Neighbors Who Use You for Free Childcare. Our new neighbors moved in this past winter, so we've known them for maybe 3 months. At first, everything was great. They seemed friendly, and our kids, along with the other neighborhood kids, got along well. Our neighborhood has this informal setup where the kids yard hop, and we all take turns supervising. It's been a really fun, communal vibe until recently. The dynamic completely changed when the wife returned to work from maternity leave. It became immediately clear that the husband cannot handle both of their kids on his own, especially their older child, age 4. Here's what keeps happening. Within minutes of getting home, he finds whatever neighbor child is outside and dumps his 4-year-old with them. No heads up, no check-in with the adult at home, no offer to return shortly or hang around. He'll say something vague like, "I need to check on the baby," and then disappear for 1 to 2 hours. I'm not exaggerating. He's literally opened my closed backyard gate, sent his child in, and walked past me on the porch without saying a single word, leaving me to supervise without ever asking if that's okay. My problem with this is that their child isn't self-sufficient like the other neighborhood kids. They still need help using the bathroom, getting dressed, eating snacks, riding a bike, etc. I don't mind helping kids in general, but helping someone else's 4-year-old with personal care like bathroom use or dressing, that crosses a line in my opinion. Still, the dad acts like I'm just expected to do it. He's told his child to go inside my house to get a snack or use the bathroom, saying I'll help, again, without asking. I've started telling them to go find their dad if they need these things. I can be passive-aggressive too, dude. That's not even the half of it. The parents regularly invite themselves over. They help themselves to food and drinks from our patio during our family pool nights. Fridays are kind of our thing with pizza and swimming. I explained multiple times that it's a potluck-style situation and everyone brings something, but they continue to show up empty-handed and eat whatever's available. In the pool situation, every single time we swim, they send their child over in a swimsuit. No asking, no checking if it's okay. They just open the gate and in their child comes. We've sent them back to get an adult, but when the dad finally does show up, he plops on a deck chair, stares at his phone, and still doesn't watch. Meanwhile, their child needs constant assistance in the pool, which makes it impossible for us to properly supervise our own slightly older, but still non-touching kids. Our kids can swim without floaties and need close supervision as well, but their kid is hanging all over us demanding our undivided attention the entire time. We've tried setting firm limits, like saying, "No swimming today," when we're hosting a family-only event. Their child throws a huge meltdown, and suddenly we're the villains for not letting someone else's kid crash our pool party. I'm exhausted. I didn't sign up to be their free babysitter, lifeguard, snack provider, and summer camp coordinator. My subtle boundary setting has been completely ignored. I've tried being polite, but it's not working. I don't want to cause drama or burn bridges. They're going to be here long-term, and our kids will likely go to school together. But I now hide inside when they're outside because I just can't deal with them anymore, and my summer is being tainted because they have no boundaries. Has anyone else dealt with this? How do I set stronger boundaries without creating a huge neighborhood feud? Edit. Our pool is locked at all times unless we are in it. When I say gate, it means our yard gate, not the pool gate. It seems that part was confusing. We always lock our pool. Relevant comments. Glittering Set 2510 says, talk to the wife. Does she know her husband is dumping the 4-year-old on you? Hope replied, doubt it. She works 12-hour shifts and is exhausted when she gets home. I don't see much of her until the weekend. I don't know how to approach it, to be honest. Nitsanity says, I am sorry, but this whole situation hinges completely and utterly on you. You need to say no. You need to take the kid back to dad every time. You need to put a lock on your gate. You are old enough to have a house and children. Use your words. Do you really care if the moochers are mad at you? Are any of the other neighbors tired of being used? The wandering in on Friday, empty-handed? No way. Hope replied. We've talked to a few other neighbors, and they're annoyed he disappears for hours, and their kid is at their house needing all this extra attention. They don't have the pool issues because we're the only one with a pool. I've started saying no. Thought I made that clear in my post, but thank for your very kind words. This went on for about a month until I started to shut it down. But it isn't the kids' fault, and they shouldn't be shunned or not able to play because their dad can't be a parent for a few hours after work. I'm not cool with punishing a kid for their parents' choices. So when they need help, I send them to their dad. Period. Opie responded to a longer comment. Hope replied, "My parents said to lock the gate too. It's wrought iron, so I'd have to get a padlock for it. Not against the idea, but don't know if I'm ready for that level of petty. But I'm here for it in the future. Love how you worded the feedback for the parents. Putting that in my back pocket for sure." I don't have their email, but I guess I could text the wife that. I wanted to seem natural and not out of the blue, so I'll wait for the next time we swim, which will probably be later today or tomorrow. Hope added, "We have a backyard camera and a lock is on the pool at all times." Opie explained where they live. Hope replied, "We 100% live in the Midwest. We grew up around here, and the neighborhood dynamic, yard hopping, is what kids do. It's wild to me the people that are appalled by this, because this is the norm where I'm from." Mini update 1. They fucked off this weekend, thank goodness. We've been swimming all day. I'm looking forward to them coming home and me telling them it's a family day and they can't. That's my new answer every time now. Also considering a privacy fence for next summer. Commenter says, "Any update?" Hope replied, "Not much really. The neighbor husband finally upset my husband enough to cut relationship ties. That's a whole other long story. We're cordial with them, but every time they ask to swim, our answer is either not today or we invite family over and say it wouldn't be appropriate for them to crash. The past few weeks we've either been out of town or they have, so we haven't had much chance to confront anyone. I don't think it's necessary at this point, to be honest. They seem to have gotten the message since they royally pissed my husband off and have backed off a lot since then. I was supposed to have a play date with just the wife and was planning on talking to her then, but she canceled last minute and we haven't rescheduled. The play date was her idea. I was confused as to why a scheduled play date was necessary when my kids are always outside and she could just send her kid out to play too, but whatever. So unfortunately, no drama yet. We always have a big showing for Halloween in our neighborhood, and my family basically tailgates in our garage as we pass out candy. I'm interested to see if they try to crash it, which the answer will be no. Hopefully my resting bitch face and our lack of being overly friendly gives them a fuck off vibe by then. Knowing her, she'll passive-aggressively text me if something is wrong before then, and this time I won't hold back. Stay tuned. I'll update if anything happens. Mini update 3. No dramatic update, unfortunately. We stopped having them over and told them no when they'd asked to swim. I'd send their kid back if they asked for help with something or needed anything. The message seemed to be received that we were done with their bullshit, and we basically ignored each other for months. They barely came outside during that period of time, so it wasn't like we went out of our way to ignore them. We'd wave, but that's it. I just had my first cordial conversation with them over the weekend, actually. I hadn't spoken more than a hello to them since August prior to that. With our pool now closed, my point of contention with them has eased, but it took time for me to be even friendly towards them again. The wife got a new job where she's home earlier, so that helped with the dad problem. There are definitely people that use others for their own advantage, and I see that now. Won't be sucked into that again next summer. Update. It's been a year, and I am happy to say the neighbors finally got the hint. It took some time and not so subtle fuck-off vibes. It all really came to a head in October, Halloween specifically. Halloween is always a big event at our house. My family comes over to pass out candy, and cousins join us for trick-or-treating, so there are always a lot of people, food, and chaos. The neighbors came over completely uninvited. The husband said his kid wanted to say hi. Fine, whatever. I turned around and caught him helping himself to the pizza on our food table, feeding not only his kid, but himself. I was already in a terrible mood for unrelated reasons, so I sarcastically said, "Make yourself at home. Why don't you?" He left shortly after, but then the wife wandered over and started eating our food too. That was it, I was done. You show up to a family gathering you weren't invited to and then start eating someone else's food? Who does that? Fast forward to early May. After months of zero contact and absolutely no effort on our part to be friendly, I was in the backyard alone with my kids. My husband's hobby keeps him away most Sunday afternoons, and my neighbors know that. The kids were playing while I was doing work-related things on my laptop at the patio table. Our yards are separated by 4-foot fences because of city ordinances, so I could see the rude neighbors in their yard as well. I loudly reminded my kids they needed to stay in our yard because I had to get dinner started soon and wanted to keep an eye on them. Not even 2 minutes later, I looked up and saw the husband standing in my backyard. He had simply opened our fence gate and walked in with his kid. No, is this okay? Nothing. He just stood there about 3 feet away from me while his kid played. I was completely speechless and incredibly uncomfortable. I didn't like that this man felt comfortable enough to walk into a person's yard uninvited. One who knew my husband wasn't home. He never does this crap when my husband is there, or at least isn't so creepy about it. Thankfully, my youngest got hurt after about 3 minutes and came crying over to me. They left shortly afterward, and my husband got home not long after that. The first thing I told him was to bungee our fence gate shut on their side. We can't permanently lock the gate because our fertilizer company comes whenever they feel like it without giving us any notice, but a bungee cord does the job well enough. The following Sunday, he tried it again. He walked over to the gate, stopped when he saw the bungee cord, and then turned around. Instead, he took his kid to the front of the house, and the whole family went for a walk. I was left in peace, and he hasn't tried it since. About a week later, the wife texted asking if I'd like to meet for coffee soon. I politely declined meeting somewhere and told her that if there was something she wanted to chat about, we could just have coffee in our own backyards. I immediately told my husband, "Pool season is coming. I bet she suddenly wants to be friends, so we'll invite them over to swim." She never followed up, never came over, never tried to have the conversation. I'm outside with the kids every single day. There have been plenty of opportunities to chat. She just gets out her car and goes inside her house without saying anything. Fine with me. Honestly, I'm not interested in hearing whatever she had to say, so I let it go and put the ball in her court. She's only reached out one other time since. It started with, "How are you guys doing with this heat wave?" Small talk and quickly turned into, "Can I ask you for a favor?" It wasn't anything but texting her some school information, but I should have seen that coming. They're users. They only invest in relationships when there's something in it for them. That isn't going to be us. They only want that it takes a village community if they benefit from it, not contributing anything at all on their end. Now we're in the pool almost every day. They either close their blinds whenever we're outside or come out to water their plants while glaring at us the entire time. I don't care anymore about being neighborly to them. There was a point where we seriously considered moving because I dreaded what our future summers would be like. Then we decided we weren't going to spend our summer living in fear of our neighbors. Turns out, they've done nothing. My favorite part, though, they bungeed their gate too. Bro, we're not the ones walking into other people's backyards uninvited. Is that supposed to send us a message? It makes me laugh every time I go water the plants on that side of the yard. So that's the 1-year update. For now, it seems the message has finally been received and I can relax in my yard in peace. I'm not dumb, though. Summer isn't over and I'm keeping my head on a swivel. Relevant comments. OP provided more clarification. OP replied, "We have an above-ground pool with a locked gate. My 4-foot fence is my yard fence, not the pool fence. Our yard and pool are code compliant." OP replied to another commenter, "I merely mentioned the fact that our fence was 4 feet tall to emphasize the fact that we can see our neighbors every time we're outside and vice versa. Thank you for your concern, but we passed all code inspections for our setup." OP replied to another commenter, "City code doesn't allow for 6-foot fences in my town, unfortunately. Price is not the problem, ordinance is. I would happily pay for it if we could." Known bodybuilder 4948 says, "I plant some nice landscape screening along that common fence line. Fast-growing lilac bushes, dwarf fruit trees, whatever." OP replied, "Thank you. We talked about this. There's some sort of arborvitae species that grows fast that we've talked about planting as well. It's on the list." OP added, "We've also joked about putting an addition on that side of the yard. A 4-season room or something to block their view of the patio area at least. Ideas are brewing over here." Death by SNU says, "What does the dynamic look like with the other neighbors now? Do you still kind of rotate watching each other's kids? Or is that kind of ruined now because you don't want to encourage the hell neighbor to drop their kid off too?" OP replied, "The only mom that still talks to them is across the street, but she has ties to the schools here and feels she has to be nice for her job. Her words. I get it, that would suck. The other kids in the neighborhood are 3 to 5 years older than their kids and don't care much because their kids are much younger. My kids play with their kids occasionally in the front yard, but they honestly never come outside anymore. The yard hopping still happens, but it is much less than last year, which is a bummer. The kids are also older and ride their bikes to other streets to see their friends now, or in summer programs or sports, so that plays into it too. B7 Lasagna says, the problem is you women communicate with hints. Fuck that. Say what you want to say. Hope replied. And as women, we have to be careful what we say and who we say it to. We never know how you men will react to our precious feelings. Should I have screamed at a man who is much larger than me, standing in my yard, uninvited, when my husband wasn't home, and he knew it? Shaking my head, you don't think about this stuff, but we do. All the time, because that's how we have to think. B7 Lasagna replied, you needn't get into a physical or screaming match. A simple, excuse me, I don't appreciate you walking into our yard uninvited, would suffice. Hope replied, I explained to a previous poster I was so flabbergasted that he was in my yard in the first place. It took some time to properly formulate words, so they wouldn't have come out sarcastic or with an impatient or outright mean tone, because that's how done I was with him at that point. My kid then got hurt, and the moment was over, and they left while I was consoling my child. It's easy for you to analyze from the outside, not so simple to do in that moment, which was a total of 2 to 3 whole minutes. But before you come at me with the you women comments, please think about how that would look or feel from a woman's perspective. I'm a small woman who has been raised in a world where we have to be careful around men because you don't know how they'll react to the word no. The second story is from Relationship Advice subreddit. It was posted by Thrower Unlit Seashore and was titled, My 28 male, fiancé, 30 female, confessed to hooking up with another guy shortly before our wedding. I am struggling. How can I move past this? I'm 28 male, feeling super lost about my relationship with my fiancé, 29 female. I'd appreciate a fresh perspective. We've been together for about 3 years now, but have been friends for 5 years. We met in the same workplace friend group. She's my best friend and my partner in every way. Our relationship hasn't been without challenges, but we've been a solid team. Last December, my fiancé asked if we could take a break so she could recalibrate. She said she was struggling with finding her purpose outside of our relationship. I've never believed in the concept of breaks, but I wanted to support her. So I agreed, and we set boundaries. Essentially, we wouldn't see other people. The break wasn't long. By Christmas, it was already over. She said it was a mistake, and she wanted us. And things were good. Our communication was stronger, and like no time apart had ever occurred. We were engaged by New Year's. My fiancé didn't want to wait anymore. She wanted us to start our lives together in marriage. This past week, she's been anxious and blamed it on wedding jitters. Then the other day, she sat me down and confessed to hooking up with some guy during the break. She met him on a dating app, and they had sex a couple of times. She claims the guilt's been eating at her, and she opened up to her sister, 31 female, a month ago. Apparently, her sister pushed her to come clean before the wedding. When my fiancé stalled, her sister warned she'd tell me herself if my fiancé didn't. It was a lot to accept at once. I barely said a word. I was too numb, and I'm still wrapping my mind around everything. Like my fiancé has had a complicated connection with sex due to past experiences. When we got together, she wanted us to practice celibacy, and that evolved into celibacy until marriage. She believed us waiting would cement our bond and elevate our relationship. We focused on other forms of intimacy. The no-sex stuff was never a deal-breaker for me. Sex wasn't the basis of my love for her, nor was it why I wanted to be with her. And she was well worth the wait in any capacity for me. But I'm struggling now because I don't understand how she can turn around and give herself to some random guy in a way she's never given herself to me. How celibacy was so important to her, but she gave that away for him. She swears the other guy meant nothing, and it was the biggest mistake of her life. That she ended the fling because I'm the one she's in love with and who she wants to be with. But I don't know. Nothing she said really landed for me, to be honest. I asked if she would have told me if it wasn't for her sister. She said she doesn't know. She promised to do anything to rebuild trust and repair our relationship no matter how long it takes. She still wants us to proceed with the wedding. She said she believes in our love and how we can withstand anything. How this doesn't have to define us. When I didn't engage, she just cried and kept asking me to say something. I told her I needed to clear my head. I don't like speaking when my emotions are all over the place. I tend to regret it, so I prefer to gather myself. But my fiancée hasn't respected my request, and when I don't engage, she's hurt. And now she's also super affectionate. She's always been affectionate, but she's different with it now, if that makes sense. This doesn't feel like real life. I never expected this betrayal from her. We're supposed to be wedding planning and everything that comes with it. Our wedding is around the corner. We're having a modest gathering, so the planning wasn't that long. I feel so numb to everything. I'm in love with her, and she's the woman I wanted to share a life with, but for the first time I'm questioning everything. I don't even trust myself anymore, to be honest. I feel so stupid and like such a joke. I'm just lost. How do I move past this and navigate our relationship? Relevant comments. Commenter 1 says, if you guys agreed on not seeing other people during the break, then why was she on dating sites? Is she bipolar? Sounds like maybe a manic episode. She made a careless decision with a stranger. I think you should move on. Unfortunately, whatever it was that caused her infidelity may creep back up if she doesn't figure it out. Hope replied, the only reason she gave me about the dating app was it was a mistake. She won't elaborate further on it. Commenter 2 says, she's not your friend, much less your best friend, and she's not wife material. She broke the boundaries y'all set right away and would have never told you if she wasn't forced into it. I wouldn't be surprised if she planned that break just to do what she did. Her excuses are complete bullshit. She made you wait for sex, but gave it up to him right away twice. And cheaters always say it meant nothing. Mark my words, OP. If you marry this woman, hell, if you stay with this woman, you will regret it. Be smart. In this relationship, walk away and never look back. Your fiancé is a piece of shit. Commenter 3 says, it's over. If you marry her, 1, you'll never be able to forget that she cheated, and 2, she'll never be able to respect you because you took her back. She's being extra nice because she wants to get married and not start from scratch to find someone else to marry. Run. Update. Thank you to everyone who reached out. I, 28 male, wasn't able to reply much, but I appreciated everything. I had no one to talk to about this whole situation, not even our friend group, because I've been embarrassed. A lot's happened since my original post, so I wanted to provide an update. After taking some time to myself, the numbness is wearing off. Every emotion has been hitting at once. Emptiness, sadness, anger. Some have asked what my fiancé's complicated relationship with sex is. I won't get too much into it because it's personal details about her, but she's been badly shamed before, and she feels sex has messed up good things in her life at different times. She never really respected my demand for time to sort my feelings. She kept pushing and trying to use affection. I did end up asking about her hooking up with that guy while we were celibate. She claims celibacy for us was different because she wanted a pure relationship with me and for us to be our strongest and most connected before sex. The other hookup was more inconsequential. I didn't ask her much about further details on the guy because, to be honest, it doesn't change anything for me. I don't have it in me to be a detective and compare stories right now. The facts are the woman I dedicated my life to cheated and nuked our relationship. I did ask her why, though. She claims that she was self-sabotaging. She felt insecure about our relationship and how she'd be as a wife, and she sought comfort through sex, but it only made her feel worse, and she realized she wanted me. I'm still processing her reasoning, to be honest. I don't know what else I could have done. I always reassured her and told her she's the one I wanted to be with. I'd list everything I loved about her. I never had doubt about her or our relationship. There's a lot I'm still figuring out, but I know I can't go through with the wedding. The other day, I sat her down and called it off. I guess she thought I was preparing to reconcile, so she didn't take it well. She was really broken up. I've never seen her break down nor cry like that. And despite everything, it hurt to leave her while she was in that state. She was just in bad shape and saying she didn't want to lose me, and it was the biggest mistake of her life. She'll never do it again. She asked for us to try therapy. She kept asking for me not to give up on us. I'm not in a place to engage in any reconciliation with her, nor do I have any trust in her. She brought up how I promised I'd always be there for her, but now I'm abandoning her like everyone else has, and how we promised each other unconditional love. I don't think her accusations are fair, and it did sting, to be honest. I meant my promises and everything I ever told her, but I didn't just up and leave her. She cheated. She made a decision for the break. She made a decision to download the app, entertain the guy, and have sex with him. We're here because of her choices. The unconditional love was a promise we made at the very start of our relationship. We've both dealt with not being accepted for ourselves or only having conditional love. I wanted to reassure her she never had to be anything except herself for me. That was the basis for the promise, that I accepted her wholly. It wasn't a card to pull for cheating. Another thing that makes this all complicated is that we live together. I planned to stay with family for the time being, but she was refusing to let me leave. Like she threw herself in front of the door and refused to move, and then grabbed me when I tried moving around her. I had to call her sister, 31 female, to come get her and talk her down. I've been processing these past few days. This doesn't feel like real life. She always boasted about us, and our relationship meant the world to me. I was never more sure of anything in my life than her. My mindset was already married to her. She's been texting and sending voice notes asking for forgiveness and wanting to reconcile. I haven't replied. I'm not sure if I can move past this. I've told our family and friend group about the cancellation and breakup. Making the rounds was embarrassing, and everyone has tons of questions. Somehow it hurts more upon each retelling. Our friend group's been mostly understanding, but a few are advocating for me to talk things out with her. I'm not in the headspace to engage them either. I feel like I lost the life we built and shared. How we went from engaged and the happiest we've ever been to this. How days ago, we were just joking about her walking down the aisle, with how clumsy she is to now be broken up. I feel so lost, and I don't know where to go from here. I'm still coming to terms with everything. Thank you to everyone who's shown support and empathy. I really appreciate it. Relevant comments. Commenter 1 says, if you stay with her, you relive this pain every day and in every moment. I've been there, and like he was foolishly holding on to sunk cost fallacy. It gets worse every day, minimizing yourself and the pain you feel. I stayed for a year after, and the relationship and the fights got worse and worse. I know you'll find happiness with someone else. Sending love. Commenter 2 says, she's so manipulative, saying you're leaving like everyone else. What a freaking dirtbag. Please pack your important documents and things and store them away from her. Call her family and tell them she needs help and she needs to stop harassing you. She should be the one to leave. Commenter 3 says, sadly, my friend, you don't move past it. You move forward by yourself. At some point in time in the future, you will forgive her. You're going to have to in order to move on with your life. What you will never be able to do is forget about it. And that's what's going to eat you from the inside out every time you look at her. I'm so very sorry this has happened to you.